Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, welcome to New Life Live. It is New Life, it is live. We are here, Dr. Dave Stoop, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and you could join us at 1-800-229-3000. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing good, Steve.
Well, great. Now, I don't know how everybody else spent their weekend, but I spent the weekend. We did our marriage intensive, and I wish I wish you could have been there, because we have never felt so burdened for so many. I think it was the heaviest, most difficult group. And so what that means is we got to see the most breakthroughs ever. And I want to encourage you, if you missed it, if you weren't there and you know you needed to be, sign up for the next one, because these things are just crazy, so effective. One group had every couple was done, and the counselor said to them, okay, so you're all done. Okay, so let's all go back and you write down everything you can't stand about the person you're with, and let's just get it out there. None of them did the assignment. They all came back and said, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to work on what we could work on while we're here. Every one of those couples are staying together. And they were done. We had one guy, they were already divorced.
I love that.
And they came back and he said, we're already divorced. And now we see all this hope. So I'm just telling you, if you support New Life, you support miracles being done through some amazing counselors and others, because I'm telling you, it was beyond anything anybody could have ever expected. So thank you for your support. We couldn't do it without you. And as a result of your support, people changed their lives, changed their marriages, and of course the impact, it's not just today, years and years going forward, generations going forward. I mean, it's just amazing what happened. So thank you all, and to all those that went, stay the course. I know it's not easy.
Yeah, but that shift to hope, Steve, is it turns everything around, because they become so hopeless. And who wants to stay in a hopeless situation, right? So
I do not.
No. Who wants to resign themselves to that?
No, you don't have to.
It becomes even more hopeless.
Yeah, it
That's
does.
right.
So to be able to see hope and imagine something more and reconnect with the reasons that you got together in the first place, it's wonderful.
So pretty exciting. And I got to tell you, I've just never seen so many people in so much pain, and watch these just the barriers come down and openings happen and people start to experience restoration. You could do that too. Come to the next one. Whatever you do, whatever you need to do, we've got something. Whether it's Finding Freedom or Every Man's Battle workshop, we've got something for you. I'm going to go to the phones here. I'm going to talk to Colton. Colton's called us from Des Moines. Hi, Colton. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing okay. What's going on? How can we help you today?
So here's the question I have. How can I prove to somebody that I am free from pornography, because I have to prove to her that I am free from it before we can move on in our relationship?
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
Tough question.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been free from it?
Well, I've been good for about 4 months now.
4 months. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to find out what you're doing to maintain that, and all the other things there. And I'm really glad you called. If anybody else wants to join us, it's 1-800-229-3000. When we come back, we'll tell you about a very special program this Friday. We'll be back after this.
Maybe you've seen something pop up on your husband's phone or a website on a computer. and you're just thinking something isn't quite right in my marriage, and you think it might have to do with sexual integrity issues. Well, you're not alone, and we have a place for you to come and connect with other women who have the same kinds of questions or who maybe already know the truth. Restore Workshop will educate you on the key issues and then connect you to a small group of women walking through the same difficult journey. Between main sessions and small groups, you walk in scared and alone and as strangers, and you leave having a support system that can help you see your way through this.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, July 19th to the 21st. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back and we're talking with Colton here, and Colton wants to know how to prove that he's free of pornography. So, Colton, tell me what happened that caused her to know about the problem.
Well, this is what I've done. It's been a problem for me for about 3 years now, and I've always wanted to stop, but I've never been able to do it. But what I've been doing for the past 4 months is I realized how much of a distraction my social media has become and how that is just leading me to temptation all the time. So what I've done is to delete all my social media, and I do what Daniel says in Daniel 1:8. He purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. So I can see, I look ahead to what's coming, and in the morning I say, I'm not going to defile myself today.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what she's saying would be a way that she'd feel better about it all.
To call this show.
Okay. Well, you know, our position has always been pretty hard to do this, maybe impossible, without connecting with another person over it.
Yep.
Besides your wife.
Yeah. So another guy or a group or seeing a counselor or something, you think that would help her to see, hey, he's really serious about this?
I think it would, yeah.
Colton, how long have you guys been married?
We're not married.
Oh, okay. Sorry to assume that. Okay, so you've been dating for how long?
We're not dating either.
What are you doing?
What are you?
Yeah.
So, I want to date her. Like, 'cause I know she's a very special person to me, but she feels that, and I agree with her that we can't be in a relationship without me solving this problem first.
Good. Okay.
Colton, one of the
I
things I would do,
completely
I would pull out all the stops. I would go to Every Man's Battle Weekend. I would get involved in the Pure Life Ministries as a follow-up and accountable to a group of men.
Mm-hmm.
I would get into a counselor and say, these are the things that I'm doing to make sure that I never relapse and never go back again to that. You're going to run out of willpower at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thought, because then you got to start all over again, and you got to have more.
You have more to feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, and you got to have more than willpower to make it, because it's a strong pull.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's not that the Lord can't sustain you. I mean, I hear you're turning to Scripture and all of that, but you need God's people around you too, because we need that accountability piece. And the thing is, you don't just want to stop the behavior. Like right now you're stopping the behavior, but you really want to look underneath the behavior. What's fueling this? Why do I turn to this?
Yeah.
What happens when I get anxious and stressed? How am I feeling about myself? What does this do for me, right? But to dig deeper and look at some of the intimacy issues where there's probably some woundedness in your life.
Yeah, I think one of the areas of that is I turn to that when I'm bored. when I don't have anything to do, my mind starts to wander, and that's when I fall.
Okay.
So, if I were you and I wanted to date her, but also I just wanted to be sure I was on the right track, I would at least, I would be seeing a counselor, and I would be involved in a growth program, whether that's a men's Bible study, a 12-step group, at least something where I'm going there to grow as a man. And I'd go to that counselor, I'd have that group, and then I'd think that if I'm pure and I tell her, I commit to you, if I slip for whatever reason, you're going to be the first to know. And then if she's not wanting to date you at that point, then at some point it just might not be a good thing to pursue. Do you understand what I'm saying there?
I do.
But
meaning pursuing her. Pursuing your healing is a good thing. No matter what.
No, right. But at some point, you have to have somebody that sees what you're doing. I don't think you're doing enough. But I think once you implement it, then she needs to respond to that, or maybe it's just not meant to be. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got to be for more than just dating her. It's got to be for you.
Yeah.
And if it's not for you,
I'm not
then
doing it for her.
No, but it's a consequence of doing it for you, and it's okay as a consequence.
Right.
And it may be counterintuitive, but it's really too about strengthening your relationship with other men.
There you go. That really is.
That makes you prepared to be with a woman.
Yeah, that's right.
And to be pure.
And then, also to explore with her why it is something that, she needs more of you, rather than you walking away. If counseling, being in a support group isn't enough, then find out what is the issue. What would it take for your own good? What do you see in me that makes you wonder if I'm really sincere about this? All right, I'm going to send you copy of, let me send you a copy of John Townsend's book, People Fuel. And that's a great book to help us all, motivate us all to get involved with somebody else, get support, help, healing long-term, and a gift of any amount to this ministry. And I'll send you a copy of it. Let's go to John from Brookline, Massachusetts. Hey, John, how are you?
Well, I couldn't be any better. A lot of it has to do with the work that you people are doing. I don't think you get enough credit, and I would advocate that anybody that has experienced the good experience that my wife and I did would call in and give a little testimony. I know you guys don't want the credit. God gets the glory, but you guys are all in a great position about as far as, you got to teach men to be men and how to treat ladies again.
So you went to the Intimacy in Marriage workshop, right?
Yes, sir.
And it was good experience.
Oh, you don't know. It was fabulous.
Wonderful, man. That is so good. What would you say was something that really helped you?
Well, after my wife and I got along together, I admitted to her how I hadn't been a man. I had been all for me. I stopped opening the doors. I stopped bringing her flowers for little things. Just the little things I used to do that didn't cost me anything. The little I love you before I went to bed, or I'm going out the door on my job because I work nights and days, and, love you, honey, see you in the morning, or anything. We stopped communicating, but now it's like being on a honeymoon again. And, she's waiting until I open the door for her, which is great, because she's a strong-headed redhead about 6 foot tall, and she doesn't like anything done for her. She wants to control. But she's letting me be the man that I was always supposed to be.
Wow. That is incredible, John. It's so good to hear.
It sure is.
Right? And it's just amazing when you look back how slowly relationships erode over the years and people stop tending to them and become more, polarized inside themselves and protective and so disconnected from each other. And we can hear the joy in your voice at reconnecting.
So, John, you think a guy having trouble in his marriage, this might be a good thing for the couple to do?
Oh, there's no question about it. But again, I would advocate to what one of you said was the man should go to men's groups. That's what I started doing years ago when I was having problems with something else, and I just recently got back into one, and I had forgotten what being a man meant. I became a little boy for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And that's not good.
No.
Not good at all.
Good for you for what you've done. That's just wonderful. And I hope
God
and
is
pray
good.
that it's going to be an encouragement to other people. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to send you a copy of Every Man's Bible, and I think you're going to like it. I hope so. Our way of saying thanks for encouraging other people to do the same thing. Okay, let's go to, how about we talk with Jennifer from Columbus, Ohio. She tunes in on YouTube, she says. All right. Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Thank you for taking my call.
Very well. How can we help today?
Well, I was calling in hopes that maybe you can give me some direction about what to do about my marriage. I've been married for less than 2 years now, and actually separated about 7 months from my husband because he just became overwhelming. I just couldn't handle his control. He's very controlling, and when he gets angry, says some very mean things to me, and just basically blames me for all the problems in the relationship and refuses to get help or counseling. I actually filed for divorce, and I'm kind of at a fork in the road of whether should I stop the divorce and try to convince him to work on this, or should I move forward? At this point, he thinks we're not compatible and that we made a mistake in getting married.
All right. So, I mean, this is absolutely one of those examples of, if you had been at our marriage intensive, I think we could have given both of you a total different perspective and outcome. Dave, what do you think when you hear something that's pretty dramatic flip here?
Yeah, it's sad to hear because there's so much potential. Everybody's incompatible in a marriage.
Right.
Just being male and female makes you incompatible. And what you do is you learn how to work through those things and appreciate the differences. And you got to have help with that. At least get into marriage counseling with somebody else who likes to work with couples and see what can be salvaged in that relationship. But I wouldn't give up on it.
Well, and just separating and doing nothing else doesn't change the situation. It just gives you guys more time to think about and create a case against the other person.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing positive that's happening that's saying, well, let's look at this. Let's use the separation to have some space so that we can come together and honestly look and reflect on the relationship. And, you get married and, at a certain point you start hitting who this other person is. And it is a lot to deal with. And a lot of people can feel like, oh, I just married the wrong person. But with that attitude, you'll go out and again, marry the quote, wrong person. Right?
Well,
you married each other for a reason.
Yeah. There's a case to be made that everybody marries the wrong person. And then some people decide to figure out how to make it the right person, and some people don't. Some have bigger challenges than others, and this is a big challenge. So first thing I would do is I would ask both of you to put everything on the walk out the door scenario on hold and walk in the door of a very experienced, great, wonderful marriage counselor. And then do that until we have another marriage intensive and both of you come.
Mm-hmm.
We can fix this. We can help you fix this.
There are good reasons why you got married in the first place, and you don't want to lose sight of those. But there's love is blind until after the honeymoon is over.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly you become aware of things that were there, but those things have to be worked out. And that's just the nature of a marriage.
Yeah. I'm going to send you...
How do I convince him? Yeah, sorry.
Okay, how do you convince him to get the help with you?
Well, to
okay, hold on. We got the music. We'll do that right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You are a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, Dr. David Stoop, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and we're just finishing up this call with Jennifer. Jennifer, we all agree that we think your best, in persuading him to get help, perhaps your best hope is that you let us find this for you. You go see a male marriage counselor. The reason it's male is because you're going to ask him to go to the second time, and you'll eliminate that thing of it's two women against one man.
Mm-hmm.
It may not work, but we think that might be your best thing. You set up the appointment, ask him to go with you. If he doesn't go, then you go, and then the next thing is, honey, I went. He thinks there's hope for us. Would you join me next time?
Okay.
That's the best.
Right? Would you give it
shot.
kind of a last-ditch effort, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can sort out our differences, and if not, at least part as friends.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So you're inviting instead of trying to convince.
We'll try to find that counselor for you. So you hold on. All right. Let's say we talk with, how about Betty, Washington, D.C. Just there this past weekend. WAVA, the great station there. Hello, Betty. How are you?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Excellent. What's going on?
I guess I should start by just again also saying how much what a blessing all of you guys are, and you are very, very much appreciated by many people, I'm sure.
Well, thank you. Thanks for that.
And I have been listening to your program for quite some time, but I guess I'll try to start with my question and then try to give whatever, answers you need from that. But I'm trying to call now to ask, what is the best way, practical ways to diminish the pain I feel in my circumstances? And what could I do to help with some change to happen, to take place in my relationship with my children?
Okay, what's going on?
I'm divorced. I went through a divorce about 5 years ago. There was adultery, some level of abandonment as well, because he wanted to finish the relationship. In this process, after that, my son came forward with his homosexuality, and my daughter, right now, a teenager, has been making some really bad choices, which I was kind of shocked as I found out recently. And they're good kids. My son is working on his profession, a recent graduate, and but they are part of what's been so painful for me is that in this process they really became more distant from me. I am the parent that has a little bit more of a conservative values, let's say, and they really want to have a different lifestyle, and father is very liberal
right
through the whole process since since the whole divorce has happened.
Sure. Yeah, we understand how that dynamic works. So what's the big question for us then?
I guess it's like I said, how can I know I cannot control my kids, but how can I? What could I do about myself that maybe could help to change this distance, that they have towards me?
Okay.
Betty, did you mention their ages? I didn't quite catch that.
21 and 16.
Okay, so daughter's 16, son's 21. So do they live with you?
My son doesn't live with me. He's just in the midst of transitioning now, getting his own place because he just got a job. And my daughter, we had a custody, but now she's saying that she doesn't want to be living with me anymore, that she wants to go full-time with Dad. And I think that has a lot to do with the choices and the way she wants to live.
Sure.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And it's just so painful, some of the things that she has been doing, and it's shocking to me sometimes when I hear them talking the way they think. It doesn't even. It feels like you spend so much time teaching certain good values and nothing was absorbed. It seems like
it's absorbed, Betty, but
they're pushing against it right now.
Yeah, they're pushing against it.
Right,
and especially when there isn't a unified. Two parents unified in their
really hard, Betty.
parenting and all of that, then they're going to play one against the other, and they're going to go with the one who's going to endorse or allow whatever they want.
Right, or not make them have to confront what they're doing, right?
Betty, you just want to have an influence in them, and that means you accept them the way they are and love them, and you stay true to your values and stay true to yourself.
But you don't have to bring those up every time you're with them.
Right.
No, that's why you got to accept them for who they are, and know that in the long run, you have the better chance of having the influence over their behavior, because their choices are going to lead to problems that are unresolvable, probably.
That's right. We'll be back right after this.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met. connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, July 19th to the 21st. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Last year, after Every Man's Battle, I was so moved by the transformation that I saw not only in myself, but in the guys in our small group and the other people that were there and the stories that I heard, that I decided to go ahead and join Club New Life as a contributor to that.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
You guys are doing God's work here. You're restoring marriages. You're giving people hope. It's just been such a blessing to me, and I just wanted to encourage you all. When you see something good that God's doing, just jump on that and help support that.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433.
Give your support to them if you can, and just help them do what God's doing here in the world.
Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and we are talking with Betty from Washington, D.C., and with the divorce, of course, the kids, they're not following her values. They're going with old dad, as it often happens. Jill, you had one final word of encouragement.
I was just saying, Betty, I feel your pain. It's really hard to be in that position. And I sometimes call it, instead of co-parenting, it's adversarial parenting, because you can only control so much when you don't have someone who's working with you in the process and almost working against you. But you do what you can, and you don't see yourself as powerless. So you have your convictions, your kids know what they are, and you be, firm in those, but you also be loving. And like Steve said, you don't bring it up every time. You work on the connection with them when you are with them. But you don't let them, like in your home, cross certain boundaries. And yet you try to understand things from their point of view. And what often happens, I've seen in situations like this, they'll go to dad, and may even have some disdain for you because dad left you, right? But eventually they start to notice things, because now you're not buffering the relationship with dad, and they start to notice things of what it's really like over there. And they'll hit up against themselves as well. And you might be surprised that in 6 months to a year, they'll come back around.
Yeah, we can only hope so.
It's not
one of the things that shocks me is that, he did everything he did, and it's almost like they're all kind of like, he's the good guy and I became the bad guy,
right.
And I don't understand how, what responsibility do I have? Of course, it was very broken. It was very difficult for me to go through the way the damage that he caused in my life. I'm trying to rebuild my life, and it's just like, what responsibility do I have for them to just turn against me like that?
Well, you just do the best you can. It's just something that is so common in these situations, and you can't. There are no magic words. I think that's the frustrating thing.
But see, if dad could leave you, then at some level they're afraid dad could leave them. So by joining with him, they're trying to kind of earn their spot with him, because that they see how devastated you are. So working on you, getting some support around you so that it doesn't completely leak over onto them. is something positive you can do. And as they see you kind of growing and dealing with life and being real about it, I don't think you have to hide, that things are hurtful or that, you know, this is a difficult situation, but they see you gaining in strength. Yeah. And then you also reach out to them and say, I want to understand why we are where we are right now. How are you feeling about our relationship? And how could I, connect with you more?
And one of the things that's going to happen with Dad is that Dad's laissez-faire approach to parenting is going to feel like abandoning or not caring at some point.
It does.
And you just want to hang in there.
Well, and one other thing here. Whenever you are with them, and rather than act like the sad victim mom left behind for doing the right thing, if you in some way can confidently communicate what Jill just said, well, I understand, why you're wanting to align with Dad and move out. I mean, he left me. You're afraid he'll leave you, so you're latching on to him. And
they'll say, "Mom, that's not it." But they'll
and then
think
they're
about
going to
it.
bed tonight. They go, "Oh, wow, that was amazing," and it causes them maybe to say,
How did Mom get so insightful all of a sudden?
Right.
Listening to New Life. That's how listening to New Life and Dr. Jill Hubbard. That's how it happened. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. We're going to send you Take Your Life Back, and I hope that's going to be helpful to you. Speaking of helpful, Larry Sonnenberg.
Hey, Steve.
Talk to us about our situation here in July. Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Here we are.
We're halfway through the time period given to make this matching fund goal. So we have $170,000 left to match. We've made a big dent. We have 53% left to go of the fund. So we are looking for you to make a match. I'm going to repeat what I've said before, but so many people say to me, I always wished I could give more. Well, now you can. All you have to do is make a gift to New Life, and it will be doubled. 5 becomes 10, 100 becomes 200, 1,000, 2,000, whatever amount of gift you can give. We will be grateful. And Steve, usually I bring in a little testimony. I do have one, but I think you should repeat a little bit of what you said at the opening of the show about the marriage weekend. That is so fresh, it is so true, and it is so impactful on lives for generations to come.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm thinking of one couple. She came to the back of the room. She's crying, and she can't stay. She cannot stay. And Becky Brown and I talked with her, and she did stay. And by the end of that weekend, there were smiles on the faces of her and her husband, and it was tough. It doesn't fix everything, but it changes the trajectory, and it doesn't do anything if we don't get support, because we can't do this. The fees aren't enough to cover our costs. Flying in therapists from all over, Christian therapists from all over, to do the work and bring in Mylan and Kay the way we do. So your support changes lives. They go to your account when you help us help others. And please, just now has never been a more valuable time to give them with this matching fund. So
and
please,
if you've ever been a part or had a broken marriage affect you personally, whether it was parent, relative, cousin, yourself, anybody, it's deep and it's wounded and it hurts and it makes a difference. It goes on generationally, saying to kids, it's okay to do this. And that stops when you come and let us help you. So thank you. If you believe in that, please help us with the gift. We have kind of deserted Club New Life for a while, looking for this matching gift. If you'd like to consider that, call and ask about that too. But thank you, everyone who's giving.
All right. Thanks, Larry. 1-800-229-3000, the brilliant PhD doctor and Dr. Jill Hubbard, Dr. Dave Stoop, here with me in this whole other next hour. And so please hang on or call us, 1-800-229-3000. Let's talk to Fred. Fred's calling us from St. George, Utah. Hello, Fred. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. What's happening in your life today?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, there's too much to bring about on one show. But my biggest question is, me and my wife, we've been married since we got together in '98, married in 2001, so 18 years. We've got one daughter who is out on the street with an opiate addiction. One daughter that has bipolar, was out on the street. We did get her saved, and she is back home, not in our home, but our life has been up and down, and we're at a point where we feel our life has just come to a standstill, kind of like hit a brick wall. And so the reason why I wanted to call this morning was I am a Christian. I do believe fully in Jesus Christ and the resurrection, but I don't feel like I've been filled with the Holy Spirit to guide me where I need to go. How do I go about getting that feeling that the Holy Spirit has filled me and is going to lead me into a direction where I need to go?
Okay. Now, I want to just clarify something here. Any thoughts that if you were filled with the Holy Spirit, then their problems would go away?
Oh, no. I know I'm going to face trials and tribulations throughout the rest of my life, but the Holy Spirit will help me get through them. And I guess what I've been thinking about is, I guess her name is Jill. Every time I hear her talk, I can kind of hear her in her voice that she has something inside of her that fills her when she talks, passion. And that's kind of what I'm missing, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to.
It's sounding to me, Fred, like you feel like you're not enough, right? And none of us are enough without the Lord, right?
Correct.
And so, but
Correct.
Fred, sometimes we have to, move forward and take the steps and trust the Lord, and also invite Him in and invite the Holy Spirit in order to have that. And it's not just a feeling that you're looking for. That comes in, being obedient and doing your relationship with the Lord. So turning to Him at every turn, considering Him, talking to Him all day long at every turn. So you have to be active and intentional in your relationship with the Lord.
Yeah, and asking the Holy Spirit to give you wisdom and guidance and direction, asking on a regular basis is making you more aware of His presence in your life.
On a regular basis, because I do listen to Family Talk Radio pretty much.
All right, hold on. We'll give you a little more help here right after this.
She said, we need to talk. She's asked me for the first time if I would consider myself a sex addict. I thought it was just about admitting the things that I had done wrong. I never had a clue that it was about redeeming our story. I thought it was just about coming clean on what I had done. I had no idea how to help her with her pain. She was a mess, I was a mess, and we got divorced. Going to EMB, surrounding myself with these other men, they accepted me for who I was and what I had done, but they challenged me to step up and do better. They'll be around other men who are not just pointing the finger, but willing to get in and wade through it with them, get in the trenches. They'll get hope from this workshop. Take my sweet wife and my story. We were divorced, remarried, and on our way to what I think will be the sweetest years of our lives. It's no longer simply about surviving. For the first time ever, we're thriving, we're enjoying where we're at.
Hey, listen, if you're struggling, we want to see you at the workshop. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, Dr. Jill Hubbard, Dr. Dave Stoop, 1-800-229-3000. That is the number, 1-800-229-3000. Let's talk to Carol. Chantilly, Virginia is where she's calling from. Hey, Carol, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. I have a question for you guys, and I know you guys will have answers for me because I listen to you guys all the time. My question would be, how do I help myself and my girls feel emotionally and mentally safe? I've been married to someone who came in with a porn addiction that I did not know about. Also, my marriage, he didn't want to have a physical relationship with me and always blamed it on work stress and found other excuses. And so around October 2016, I just almost had a nervous breakdown and didn't know how to go forward because it just became too much for me. I had imprisoned myself in my home, never wanting to leave, always feeling anxious and scared, anticipating when the next anger outrage is going to come. He's verbally abusive. He's been sexually abusive and emotionally abusive. He's been a bully to myself and my girls. And he came to the first thing I did was think about getting help for myself. So I came to Women in the Battle when you came to D.C. 2 years ago.
Yes.
Then he went to Men in the Battle, and he's changed somewhat, but he's still sarcastic. And we still fear him, and we want to know how can we thrive in life and, have joy and be happy and work through this trauma, but still, have joy in life, because we just go on from day to day surviving, but not really being joyful and happy.
Well, it sounds like he's really got a lot more problems than just, the porn problem, that it's a real personality disorder here that he is inflicting on you and the girls. Jill, Dave, what are your thoughts here? I mean, this is not uncommon, as we always been saying. One thing doesn't fix everything, and here's an example. You get the pornography taken care of, but you're still mean and cruel, and it's just sad.
Right, it's like a dry drunk, right?
Yeah.
So you haven't dealt with the layers underneath the behavior. So just as I've said before, just removing the behavior or the symptoms doesn't fix everything. You have to keep digging, and this is just a sign that he needs to do more work.
Yeah.
Because he goes to SAA meetings.
Good.
But he's still sarcastic. He goes to SAA meetings, but he's still sarcastic. He's one person with everybody else, and then he's one person at home.
So he's got a lot of resentment towards you or towards women, right? And it's kind of leaking out towards his mother, most likely. Yeah. He has intimacy issues. Have
you gone to Al-Anon meetings, Carol?
Or S-Anon?
Yes. No, I have not gone to that. I go to Celebrate Recovery.
Okay,
and
good.
I'm thinking the only thing I can do for myself and my girls is work on myself. And all along I stayed in this marriage because I thought it was the Lord's will for me. I did not know that prayer alone is not going to change him, because that's the way I was raised, believing that, we have to pray the problem away and not work through it. So I'm battling with trichotillomania. I see both my girls also battling with it now recently.
So, hair pulling, right?
Yeah, your best help, though, is being in meetings, being with other people who are struggling with the same things. And it gives you courage. It also tells you what to do and what's going to work and what's not going to work. But there's not a whole lot you can do to change another person except to change yourself.
Right. And also to let him know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And so when he becomes abusive, you remove yourself and the girls, right? You don't engage in that kind of behavior with him. And you say, you know, right now you're being abusive. It's not okay. I'm gonna go take a walk. We're gonna leave for a little bit. And you consistently
and then
do
the
that.
Problem, The other problem I have is I just, being in Celebrate Recovery and having spoken to other believers, women believers, I've gained a little bit more strength each day, and I just now was able to get a part-time job, but I find myself becoming fearful if the senior men on staff approach me with something. I get to the point where I cannot even answer. I'm dumbfounded.
Right.
I'm so fearful of men. I don't know how to handle that, though.
You know, Carol, I think you and probably your girls as well need to be in some counseling.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right?
I'm surprised that you're not.
Yeah. You need someone to help you walk through this, you know, on a weekly
Why
basis.
aren't you in counseling?
See where the fear is coming from.
Because the stress is leaking over onto the girls, too, right?
Yes.
They're manifesting
I did have them in limited counseling because my husband signed us up on a plan that's the same as not having insurance, because we have this high copay where we have to pay, and then he doesn't pay for that. So I got services through our local county, but it was just limited. It helped. That's how I was able to get out of the self-made prison and go and find a job. But now I find myself wanting to improve my financial situation, because I'm thinking that I may want to exit this marriage, but I'm fearful to do it because I'm not strong enough to be able to manage things. So the only way is to get a better job, and I cannot even function at an interview because when people question you, they are forceful and they're strong, and I cower and
Right.
No, I just have to, and it's easy for me to say this, but somehow you're going to have to get counseling from some source.
Right.
Because if not, you're going to be stuck in the same situation with the same mindset about men, and he is not an accurate representation of all men.
Right.
And so you have to decide. You have to talk to every church you can. You have to do everything you can to get a counselor that's going to help you.
Right,
put this in a different place.
Right. There are lay counselors at churches a lot of times that will do it for cheaper. Are your girls teenagers or younger?
Yes. They're both 14.
I would even look into like Alateen. Even though it's about alcoholism, it's a support group for kind of dysfunctional families and helping teens deal with that.
And you get a sponsor, because a sponsor can be like a counselor in that they guide you through the 12 steps.
Yes, and ask at the church in the youth group what they offer. There are different programs that churches offer for kids going through difficulties at home.
Yeah, I'll send you John's book, People Fuel, and I think that'll help you. I think you can go over it with the girls. I think it'll be a help to them too, and anybody else. If you want a copy, a gift of any amount, I'll send it to you. So sorry to hear what you're going through. If you hold on, maybe our folks can help you find a counselor also. That would be awesome. If you are struggling, please call us and let us find for you whatever help is available in your area. We can't help you if you don't call. There's so many other options than just to struggle by yourself. And oh my goodness, and you might be in one of these situations that until you get help, it's just all going to stay the same. Call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's the same number. If there's any way you could help us, help others, we'll send you a copy of People Fuel as our way of saying thank you. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Dave. 1-800-229-3000 for the next program.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.